This is a quick video about C# actions, because when I was working with .NET Core, I would run into code that looked like this. We had a method, and the parameters of this method were something crazy like this, like what's host context, what's service, why is this lambda? Well, we can see that configure services takes an action, and an action is a delegate. So let's talk about that using code. And if you say to yourself, I don't even know what a delegate is, let alone what an action is, that's okay, because the first thing we're going to do is create a delegate. A delegate points to a method. So I have a method on my clipboard. I'll put it in there real quick. It's add numbers. It takes 3 integers, adds them together, and writes it out. And the reason I'm adding them and writing it, you might say method shouldn't do 2 things. The reason I'm doing that is because an action doesn't return anything. That's one of the characteristics of an action. It's a delegate that doesn't return anything, so I can't return anything. I'm going to get rid of this hello world, and now I have to actually make a delegate. So you use the delegate keyword. The return type, like I said, is void. Give it a name. I don't know. Add delegate, because it's adding things. I don't know. And then the parameters. There. Now I've said this delegate has this signature, the return value and the parameters. So if I want to use it, I just say add delegate. I'll call it AD. And what is it going to point to? This add numbers. So I'll just add numbers. How do I use it? Well, because we said it add numbers, and we said that add delegate, and we've matched these parameters, we can say AD and then pass in some parameters. And when we run it, we would expect that 1 + 2 + 3 is 6 should print out to the screen. And it does. So that's good. But this is about actions. So how is an action different? Well, an action is a delegate, but it looks a little different. You say action, and you say int. You just have to give the type, and then name it. So that's what our action is going to look like. Now we can go from there and say that we have to point that to the, once again, it's still pointing to a method, right? So we point to that method, and then we pass in the parameters, and it should work. Once again, printing out 6. And it does. So that's kind of the difference between an action and a delegate. Not really much of a difference. Now there's something kind of cool, and the reason I'm showing you this is because I'm trying to get to the point where our code looks like this. So this might look like a step in the wrong direction, but you can say that this AD action, you can say that's a delegate, just like we did above. And then you can put the actual method that you're pointing at in here. So now I'm creating this delegate and taking the A, B, and C and plugging it in here, and then using it here, and it should give us 6. And it does. So you might say, well, that's not easier, that's a lot more typing. Well, the point is that you can simplify this. So I'm going to make a new line here, and instead of saying delegate int A and B and C, you can just say A, B, C, and I use this lambda expression A, B, C. So I'm going to comment this out. So we took all this and turned it into this. And if we run it, it should give us 6. Not a big surprise. And if we look at this code that I introduced in the beginning, we can see that it's kind of the same. Not exactly, but here's the parentheses with the lambda, and here's the parentheses with the lambda, and this kind of points to takes services and then gets a method. But anyway, this is kind of the same idea. So that's where that syntax comes from.